Hello, teacher and classmate. We are going to talk about school violence. My name is Rafaela Blandon. School violence refers to violence that takes place in a school setting. This includes violence on school property, on the way to or from school, and at school trips and events. An estimated 246 million children experience school violence every year. However, girls and non-gender conforming people that are disproportionately affected. School violence may be committed by students, teachers, or other members of the school staff. However, violence by fellow students is the most common. Nowadays, many students fear entering a school building because they know it is a place where they may be tested, bullied, and physically or mentally abused. Educators must be aware of these issues and educate themselves on how to keep students safe both in and out of school. Types of school violence. School violence can take many forms. These are some of the types of school violence. Physical violence, which includes any kind of physical aggression, the use of weapons as well as criminal acts like theft or arson. Psychological violence, which include emotional and verbal abuse. This may involve insulting, threatening, ignoring, insulating, rejecting, name-calling, humiliating, ridiculing, rumor mongering, lying, or punishing another person. Sexual violence, which includes sexual harassment, sexual intimidation, unwanted touching, sexual coercion, and rape. Bullying can take physical, psychological, or sexual form and is characterized by repeated and intentional aggression toward another person. Cyberbullying includes sexual or psychological abuse by people connected through school or on social media or other online platforms. This may involve posting false information, hurtful comments, malicious rumors, or embarrassing photos or videos online. Cyberbullying can also take the form of excluding someone from online groups or networks.
Best regards to all. My name is Kayla Hernandez and I'm going to talk about school violence. Consequences on school life. Children who are frequently bullied are more likely to express a feeling of exclusion and the desire to drop out of school upon completion of high school. Bullied children obtain lower school performance than others. Consequences for health. There are more children who have been victims of bullying with feelings of loneliness and suicidal ideation, as well as those who present higher rates of tobacco, alcohol, or cannabis use and who confess to feeling less satisfied with their life and state of health. Anti-violence battle in schools. Sadly, violence in schools, from harassment to sexual harassment to corporal punishment, is so prevalent that it seems unavoidable, but not. It's avoidable and we can all do something about it. To train parents on the problem of violence in schools, and that each child can find these values at home to prevent and avoid violence in their school environment. create support and train programs for the most important staff that is responsible for training each student so they can identify possible cases of violence in their home and school and be able to deal with them. It is important to create awareness in each student so that when they face possible cases of violence, they know how to report them and also emphasize intolerance toward others. A safe environment will prevent the existence of factors that promote violence among students. School staff and students need to be instructed on what to do in emergency safety drills. Equality is the base for tolerance and diversity, and should be a value that is taught in home and should be reinforced in schools. Encourage students to go with the authorities such as teachers, counselors, and community representatives when they witness or learn of cases of violence. It is important to indicate that the parenting process is not restricted to biological fathers and mothers of children. In fact, it involves all those people who are emotionally involved and available to provide care. Its practice constitutes a socially constructed role, which perpetuates what is socially adequate. The values and customs of the context regarding the ways of raising children. In order to develop intellectually, emotionally, socially, and morally, a child always requires the same thing. These relationships of attachment or affection are not only necessary in the early stage of development. It is required that they persist throughout life, and that in the same way keep the permanent sources of acceptance and support.
Hello, teacher and classmates. My name is Kevin Zamudio. I am psychology student. Today it is my turn to talk to you about some examples of violence in school. We start from the premise that no one should be afraid to go to school. However, for many students around the world, school is a dangerous place. Sadly, violence in school, from bullying to sexual harassment and corporal punishment, is so prevalent that it seems inevitable. But no, it's avoidable and we can all do something about it. I will mention two specific examples of school violence. The first case occurred in Mexico, in which a child is harassed by his peers to the point of kicking him and causing him to bleed. Previously, the boy had already arrived home with his dirty uniform, but his mother let him go unnoticed until the least expected happens, and is the arrival of the infant with his shirt covered in blood. In this case, an investigation was requested and the child was transferred from the school. This second case will deal with the knife boy. In a video that went viral this year, two children are seen fighting on the ground of a square in Monterrey, Nuevo León. Shortly after, other boy helpers armed with a knife and tries to stab one of those involved in the fight. What is the reason? The boy with a knife was being bullied by one of the boys who was victim. He had already caused a permanent injury by throwing him off his bike and making fun of his mother. So the victim decided to arm himself and go for revenge, something that other minors present avoided. Thank you.
The best way to start is to stop talking and start acting.